very sad and regrettable that we had come to see, visit our colleagues, honorable members of parliament, Honorable Job Scala and Honorable Stole. But it's so disheartening to note that just after we had been made to wait for about 3 hours, we were then told that you can now enter to be able to see our colleagues. Upon entering, we were then invited at the office, to the office of the officer in charge. The officer in charge of the prisons, Mr. Gukurume, indicated to us that it's unfortunate that we are not able to see Honorable Job Scala and the other Nyatsime colleagues, our citizen heroes, because the Minister of Justice has instructed that we can't see them. We were surprised because they'd stood us up for almost like 2-3 hours. And I'm sure you can bear witness and testimony to that. But all of a sudden, they said we have received an instruction and a phone call that you can't see all your colleagues. So we're not able to see them. It is an embarrassment. It is harassment. It is unacceptable that you have this kind of abuse of the law. Apart from just being an ordinary citizen, I'm also a practicing lawyer. And I have every right to see any client, if need be. They throw away all those considerations to just make it a humiliating act as it has happened. Very unfortunate. We will fight this, and we obviously continue to wish our colleagues well. They deserve our solidarity, they deserve our warmth, and we continue to provide that in different ways and mechanisms. I thank you.
President, maybe just a quick question. The MDC leader was allowed to come and visit Job Scala, but he has been denied that right. Any particular reasons you have understood that to happen?
Who is the MDC leader, by the way?
Douglas Monza.
Well, I'm not even aware. Well, look, I suppose they know the reasons, but they did not give any explanation as to why we shouldn't be there. In fact, we felt so bad because, you know, all the prison officers were literally shaking, from the officer in charge right to the lowest ranking officer. They were so in panic. And we feel sorry for them because you can see that they are under some kind of instruction and pressure. It's unacceptable. It can only be something that is akin to a banana republic. It doesn't happen in a normal jurisdiction where you're just visiting a prisoner and to say our prayers. That is why I had come here. I had not come for anything. They had actually given very bizarre, you know, conditions to say when you come in, don't chant slogans. I don't know why they think that I represent chanting of slogans, but that's where we are.
And just maybe a few days ago, Zimbabwe has been calling for the removal of sanctions on it, but those who have imposed the sanctions say there needs to be respect for human rights, respect for maybe some of the issues include that respect for you to be able to visit prisoners and be able to see them. What is your view in terms of this call where the Zimbabwean government says that it has increased the democratic space in Zimbabwe?
Well, there's evidence. I've not been allowed to campaign. Wherever I've gone into the rural areas, it has been met with impediments, obstructions, illegal roadblocks, attacks by Zanu PF instigated, and also Zanu PF sponsored individuals. And And we've reported to the police, nothing happens. The police seem to actually be in a very difficult position. They are incapacitated, or they are actually not in a position to act because of political intervention, the political machinations that we see. We've had cases in Chimanimani, cases in Chipinge, cases in Nyanga, cases in Urungwe, cases everywhere where we've gone, Masvingo, we've had problems. So Zimbabwe is a difficult place. I've listened to people who say, no, you are being soft, and we know what we are dealing with, and these guys are determined to go to the full length, to be very oppressive. But we are also equally determined, and I can tell you that the citizens are totally committed, and we're very clear about change which is going to come. We've gone into the countryside, we continue to go. You have seen that the CCC movement, the citizen movement, is growing, and it has massive support. That's why they are panicking. They know that defeat is imminent. You can't be violent when you have support. You are only violent when you are on your way out. That's the character and conduct of the defeated and the losing. So yes, we have issues in this country. Human rights abuses are rampant. Look at our colleagues, over 120 days in prison, no trial, pre-trial incarceration, Detention without trial is a serious offense. International law doesn't permit that. Job Scala, Stole as MPs, and all the colleagues, the Nyatsime citizen heroes, are not criminals. They have not committed any offense. They are political prisoners. And it's on account of the politics that is toxic in this country. So that tells you what we are facing. Look at the limited journalists have been harassed. Some have been barred from even covering certain events. That tells you the kind of country we are in.
And maybe lastly, do you think Zanu PF is using sanctions to retain power in the political discourse of the country?
We have always said the greatest sanction in this country is Zanu PF. And sanctions, Zanu PF being the head of the sanctions against the citizens and against the people, must go. Without Zanu PF going, life is going to be very unbearable for the people of Zimbabwe. And that is what we have emphasized. We are very clear that Zimbabweans want change, and 2023 is a turning point. Zimbabweans are determined, and we are going to provide that alternative, and we are ready. We are going to look at our next steps legally. We don't want to do things that jeopardize these ordinary prisoners, prison officers, prisoners, and those who are jailed. We just want to do something that's above the law. So yes, we are going to communicate our next foot forward and our next step. But definitely we are not going to take this lying down. We have to do our best to make sure that we give solidarity to our comrades and we give them the support. Last?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the march that happened a few days ago, whereby children were being used and some of them wearing placards. As a lawyer yourself, what's your take on that? Child
abuse, crimes against humanity is unacceptable. That's actually poisoning young people, but it's abuse. And this is being done by a whole government. When a government is at the core and at the forefront of abusing citizens, it's a difficult thing. Now, in other countries and other jurisdictions, terrorism is done by ordinary, sections of the citizenry. In our country, terrorism is actually instigated by government, and terrorizing citizens is instigated by government. The government is the terrorist in Zimbabwe.